Unfortunately, one of the most common ways that many of us jeopardize an otherwise solid financial plan is by doing something that two-thirds of all American adults do. And before I get there, I just want to share I'm here in Costa Rica. This is the famous Montezuma Falls behind me. And one of the reasons we're all working hard for our retirements is to be able to do adventures like this. So let's jump in. What is this thing that, according to bankrate.com, 68% of us are doing that is sidetracking our retirement plans? And that is we're helping our adult children that could otherwise take care of themselves. Now, if you have an adult child with special needs, or there's a situation going on where, that's what you have to do in order to help them survive and thrive, I get that. But what bankrate.com is talking about is for kids that already have a good job, that are already independent, and mom and dad are dipping into their savings to help them get an advanced degree, to help them buy a house, to help them pay off a credit card debt. And you know what? There are loans for homes. They're called mortgages. There are loans to go back to grad school. They're called student loan. But you know what there are no loans for? There are no retirement rights. So one of the biggest gifts that you and I can give to our adult children is for us to be financially independent, for our kids not to have to worry about taking care of mom and dad financially. So if you're getting close to retirement and you're seeing that account balance start to increase, and maybe your kids are having a hard time saving for a down payment, and maybe you have money and it's just tempting to say, well, let me give you that, Rod, for your down payment. And let me help you out to that. Let me give you a gift. Let me give you a loan. And then maybe that loan gets repaid. Maybe that loan doesn't get repaid. So we have to take care once the kids are independent, once they're out of the house, once they have a skill set where they can make their own living, just like you and I. We had to figure it out. And like in my case, I'm one of the first people in my family to go to college, going back to generations. And it was hard, but to pay for college myself. And fortunately, I had a military scholarship. But um, that difficulty is part of what made me who I am, and part of what gave me some of my strengths, right? Obviously, folks that watch my channel know I like to travel, but there's expensive ways to travel, and then there's budget-friendly way to travel. And as a kid, I learned to do things budget-friendly. And I think many of us have, which brings up a challenge, right? Our kids, many of our kids have a very different life experience than you and I did when we were younger. And how do we instill in our kids that fight, that desire, to have a goal and to work hard for that goal and to sacrifice and to do what we need to do in order to be able to save, in order to be able to have a retirement, that we can be comfortable and we can do fun things like this. I want to see you take full advantage of what I call the youth of your senior years. Unfortunately, once we're 60 years old, which is how old I am, once we're 60 years old, we likely have less than 1,000 weeks of healthy, active time. And even to get to this waterfall here, the hike wasn't too bad, but it was a little technical. It was kind of rocky. It would have been easy to twist my ankle or something like that. So, am I going to do a walk like this when I'm 70? Maybe. There's some other people out here. I don't know if you can see there, a crowd out here. There's other people that are in their late 60s or 70s that have done this hike, but I'm probably going to be more cautious. And I want you to think about, that yes, we might have, if we're lucky, 1,000 weeks once we're 60, but those first 5 to 10 years, those first 250 to 500 weeks, those are the precious weeks. Those are the ones where we have the trifecta. We have time, right? We still have some time in front of us. Hopefully we have our health, and hopefully we save some money so we can have a nice retirement. We can do nice things. And that trifecta doesn't last long, right? When we were younger, we had lots of time, we had lots of help, but I don't know about you, I didn't have any money. And then you start making money. And so you have money, let's say your 30s or 40s or your early 50s, You have money, you have your health, but you don't have fine. Right? We're in the middle of our careers. We're in the middle of making as much, is starting to make money and save it aside. And you have to save for a kid's college education, pay off for a mortgage, things like that. And so finally, in your 50s, your 60s, hopefully you're starting to pay down your debt, you're starting to pay off your mortgage. That's one of the biggest gifts you can give yourself, is to pay off your mortgage. Or not having debt as we get older gives us a lot of freedom. But so we start paying off our financial responsibilities, and so now we have time, money, and our health. But unfortunately, our health is rapidly coming to an end. None of us know when we're going to lose our health, but according to the World Health Organization, the U.S. doesn't do that well. They rank all these other countries with what they call their healthy lifespan, which is, how long are you going to live before you have a cancer diagnosis, or you have a cardiovascular situation, you had a stroke, a heart attack, something like that. How long do they have until something like that's going to happen? And in Southeast Asia, in parts of Southern Europe, you know what? The healthy lifespan is about 72 years old, 71, 72. But here in the US, in the United States, it's just 66.1 years old, which is just 13 months after when many, many people are thinking about retiring. So you think about, we spend a lot of our life, worried about financial situation, building up our financial security. And then we retire. You know what we start worrying about? We start worrying about our health. And so I want you to take full advantage of what I call the youth of your senior years, when you have that period of time. And I don't want you putting that to the side in order to help your adult children do something that you and I probably did on our own, and they can probably do on their own. As a parent myself, it's just human nature to want to help our kids to make their path a little bit easier than our path. And there's many ways we can do that, right? We can do that by maybe helping out with our grandkids, with our children's. We can do that by doing adventures and just giving our kids unconditional love. There's many ways that we can help them. But when we jeopardize our own financial security for retirement, when we give up a couple of those healthy years, that's a big, big price to pay. And one of the most dangerous things that people can tell themselves is, I'm just going to work one more year and postpone the decision to retire. But the problem with doing that is likely going to be one of your healthiest, one of your most active years. So yes, we might be able to work one more year. We might be able to work 2 more years, and to help our kids do something that might take them a decade to do. But that extra 1 year, that extra 2 year could end up being 10, 20% or more of our healthy active time. We don't know. So don't jeopardize your financial security, and also don't jeopardize the use of your senior years, which is why I made this video here. Why waiting to 65 to retire might be a big mistake. I'll see you in that lot. Bye-bye.